Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show where, after the collision, we sift through
The Wreckage.
the Wreckage. I am your host, Jimmy T. He is my co-host, the best in the world, Jamie the Vet Williams, and we are live on Hamin Media Group's YouTube channel and, of course, on Twitch as well. I don't even know if we're on channelattitude.com after the fact, but if we are, we are. But Vet, what is crack-a-lacking? We've had another big AEW Extravaganza called Summer Break. Are you pumped?
We know how you
man?
love those themed shows, Jimmy. We know how you love
dude.
those themed shows.
Well, that's all right. We went from Fighter Fest to Summer Breaks, and next week we go off to Mexico, Vet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe
4 hours? We got 4 hours?
Another 4 hours probably, dude. I didn't know we were having 4 hours back-to-back, to be fair, already. Yeah. But we did. We got another 4 hours of AEW. Even though Collision's supposed to be the second half, it felt like just one whole show, to be fair.
It does, and I don't know about you, but, like, when I'm watching it, I mean, we know they do long pay-per-views, right? So that's not a surprise. So it's not like it's not like they're any strangers to running long shows, but I don't know about you, but do you think, like, it just feels like they're run out of steam towards the back half?
You think?
Like, the fans definitely, well, I don't want to say definitely, like, they're into what they're into, but I feel like the show itself is like, you know, some of those matches come in and you're just like, damn, you just gave up. I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about it, but for me personally, this works because now I don't have to cram 2 hours into a 1 hour lunch break. I can take from Wednesday all the way up till now to watch it. So I can piece it out whenever I have time and I don't have to cram it. I can pay attention to some stuff. I still don't pay attention to some stuff too, which you'll find out. But in general, it would be so much easier to not have a Saturday Collision. And if they get away with, they're not going to do 4 hours every single time. They're not just going to move to that format. But if it's easier for them, they just tape that one show rather than move to another city and tape a second show or whatever it is. Like, it's got to be easier on them in some ways logistically, but as a whole, I don't find it to be like utterly satisfying, let's say.
Well, it's funny because it was a contrast of two halves, to be fair, right? Like, the first part of Summer Break felt they were trying to be more serious, if you know what I mean, even though it was still a whole bunch of comedic bullshit, if you know what I mean, even though they were trying to be serious. But the second half felt like a whole comedy show, bro. Yeah. Seriously. I was laughing throughout the second half of the show. No shit. Like, I don't know if I was laughing because I was actually amused or I'm laughing because of the ridiculousness of just what I was watching. You know what I mean? But it just felt like serious, trying to be serious, and then just be funny in the second half. I don't know if that was intentional and whatnot, but that's how I took it anyway, man. And
yeah, I don't think if you do a 4 hour show, I mean, that's essentially what it comes out as. I don't think that the tone should shift in the second half. I don't think they should treat Collision like it's any different. The show should have one tone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, you can't just change your mindset to Collision halfway through. That doesn't make any sense. So,
I mean, am I wrong in saying that? Didn't it really feel like two different sort of halves and just the way it was booked?
It kind of does, and then they also, like, I think the ratings breakdown almost treats it like it's two different shows too, which is like, yeah, but I mean, who cares about the ratings breakdown? But I'm just noting it because it's another sort of, like, opinion, I guess, on like where they're at with their format.
Well, look, in some ways, what you said before, I think would be better if they actually did probably cram both shows. Do you think there's a possibility where I don't know, I feel like they're testing waters for sure, where they might slowly move away from Collision and just have a whole hodgepodge of AEW on Wednesdays?
No, I just think their hand is being forced right now because they're at that position where the network can shove them around and they have no leverage. So,
well, that's true. I mean, shit. They advertise friggin' Max more than Max advertises them, to be fair.
I know.
But anyway, before we get into AEW proper, though, we do need to talk about a few, news tidbits. And actually, I want to ask you, Vet, I mean, how do you feel about this whole R-Truth? I know we spoke about it last week, but I'm starting to actually lean that this was all planned all along, dude. I feel like if you look into it more, it just feels like this was all done by design. I could be wrong, but the professor actually laid it out pretty well. They got me thinking. Check that out on the Smack Attack for anyone that missed it. He made a lot of sense. And I'm starting to lean towards possibly this whole truth thing was more than likely maybe a work. Because think about it. How do you change Truth's character from a comedic version of Truth to a serious one? You can't just go from comedy to serious all of a sudden, right? It's almost like a reset by acting like they released him, even though he never got released because his contract was coming up legitly, to sort of start his whole thing. I know the wrestlers all sort of came out and said this and that, but sometimes they do work the boys, right? So you never know, but he laid out a few good things that made a lot of sense, dude. So I'm starting to lean towards a work shoot, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good compromise, right? I mean, look, I don't care. That's a stock answer for me. I don't care. But, because I love all you people, I have to give you something, right? So we'll talk about it for a couple minutes. Yeah, it doesn't really matter whether it was a work or a shoot. We get what we get. I always find it funny to see people's speculation and then what their justifications are for what they think. Like, for example, people will say, oh, come on, it was obviously a shoot because R-Truth's kid said that it wasn't a work. It's like, who cares if he said it wasn't a work? People can just say things, right? It's not a guarantee. Oh, it's like, because everybody knows who R-Truth's kid is and exactly whether he's an upstanding citizen or whether he would go along with something for his dad to help his dad out or whatever. Like, what evidence do people have? They just pick their sides and then they say like, oh, well, so-and-so said this, so, And it's like, why do you believe anybody? It's ridiculous. You're a mark. So I don't know. I just, it's conceivable either way. It's conceivable that they could have done this as a planned thing. It's conceivable that they could have just done it and been like, oops, and then let's just go with this. Where does Carlito fall into all this?
Oh, well, he's done. No one gave a shit about Carlito, clearly, even though I'm actually sad that he's not part of WWE anymore, because to be fair, they never really gave him a proper shot. But then again, what were they going to do with him anyway?
Well, what did they do with him? They didn't do shit with him.
Nothing.
The whole time he was there.
Right.
He stood there eating apples and playing 2K. How much did that cost the company? Nothing against Carlito. I would totally take money to eat apples and play 2K. But it's just, so it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that a cost-cutting measure that we would want to do. I would definitely have put him to work. But Carlito's always been like that. Like, he's got this stigma about him. Like, even going back to that, remember that Ric Flair incident from all those years ago? He was accused of being lazy, or Carlito was accused of being lazy and all this shit. It's like, man, everybody hated WWE at that time. All the boys, all the fans, everybody. Like, of course, why would he be motivated? So, I don't know. But, but going back to R-Truth, it could also still be like, well, your contract's coming up, so, let's get an extension out of this, and let's get you a lot of money on the way out the door, because we're going to make a lot of money off you. Like, if we sell a lot of t-shirts, you make a lot of money, but so do we. We make more money. Like, whatever the boys get, they're not the ones that are on the heavy end of the dividends here.
Hey,
You know what I mean? They're on the small end of the split no matter what. So if the more money R-Truth makes, the way more money TKO makes. So if you can, if you're just going to like, if R-Truth is an old man and we're getting rid of him and he's done anyway, what's the best way to maximize the profits right before he goes out the door?
right.
That makes sense. On the other hand, I mean, maybe you could say that about all these other people that, I don't know. Nobody has the tenure of R-Truth, I guess. Maybe that's why it wouldn't work with a Carlito. It certainly wouldn't work with a Dakota Kai or whatever. So
Definitely not. Even though there was a bit of a uproar sort of thing with Dakota Kai, not to the extent obviously of Truth, but I feel like this is his last hurrah anyway. Either way, I think this is his final run, literally.
yeah,
And
give the man a
he's
break.
probably going to be gone after one more year, possibly. That's what I think anyway.
He's been on the road for 30 years. Give him a break.
That's crazy, right? Unbelievable.
I like what Kenny Power says. 6 months from now, The Rock will say, so I talked to Nick Khan and they said ratings were low. I suggested make R-Truth and Iran Killings and do a total work. It's also... yeah, probably.
I mean, shit.
I mean, the ratings aren't going up, but hey.
Yeah, see, there's that too, but forget that. Sticking with WWE though, have you heard the rumors that apparently, I don't know where Private Party sit in all this. I don't know if they're out of contract. I don't know if their contracts are coming up. But allegedly, WWE is actually interested in signing Private Party. I mean, they do need to spice up the tag division, but are they the right guys to bring in? Are they even going to do anything and make a difference? You know what they're going to end up doing? They'll make them feud with the freaking Street Profits. I mean, they've both got cups, right? Don't they both have red cups? I mean, one has a security guard.
No, look, Private Party does shots.
Oh,
Okay?
yes, you're right. My bad.
That's a cup is like several shots.
That's true. That's true. My bad for that one. That's 100% certain. But wouldn't it be funny if they, instead of calling them Private Party, they come in as the Street Puppets or something like that against the Street Profits?
Exclusive Shindig. That can be their name.
I don't know where this news really, I mean, it's Meltzer breaking this. I have no idea what their status is, but if WWE is interested, I guess we'll see what happens. But would they really make a difference to the tag team division, in your opinion, in WWE?
In the sense that anyone could, yes. But will they? That's up to not them, right? Like,
Well,
anybody could make a difference. That's the whole point of promotion.
right.
You push people to be a certain thing and then you reap the benefits. And
Well.
if at first you don't succeed, you try again.
You dust yourself off and try again.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, yeah, you could bring Private Party in and you could do something with them, but you could do something with any of the tag teams you have now that you're not doing. Where's Pretty Deadly? Where's, who else is never on, like, I feel like you only see these teams some of the time anyway. I
mean,
I don't know. And the other thing too, like, I know people have disagreeing philosophies with me on this, but I'm right. And this is what I'm talking about. Like when they bring people in and they're not, like, if you're bringing somebody in from AEW as a free agent, I believe you need to capitalize on that free agency as AEW talent. So I don't want to hear about Blake Monroe. Tell me you got Mariah May. Tell me you stole her. Tell me it's Mariah May, the glamour that you stole, not some made up bullshit, because no one knows what that is, right? And even the people that don't know, it doesn't matter to them. But it does matter to the people that that do know and do follow. And they would be like, oh, damn, they got her, And the same thing with who else they just get and change the name? Ricky Starks,
for example. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Tell me you got Ricky Starks. I don't know who Ricky Saints is, and no one wants to see Ricky Saints, right? It's just a silly name. And same thing with Private Party. If you bring them in, I expect them to be Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, Private Party. I don't want to hear Exclusive Shindig or whatever. I don't want I don't want you to change it. I want you to tell me, look what we got. Look who we stole. You know, it's when another pro sports team signs a free agent, they don't change their name when they give them a new jersey.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
no, it's weird, dude. It's true. They one thing I have noticed with WWE, they do acknowledge them as their true selves when they first debut, and then they change the name. If you've noticed, that's what they've been doing lately. So they acknowledge it and then change it. But I agree with you 100%. They should just keep them to what people know them as. But, you know, that's WWE for you. They're kind of greedy and have to own everything and control everything.
But that's old. That's old, though. They're not doing that anymore. You know, they let people do other stuff. They let people go work with other promotions. They let people have their own sources of income outside of the WWE. You know, people keep thinking, like, everybody, like, to a certain extent, going back 40 plus years, they're all brainwashed by Vince McMahon's WWF, WWE. They're all brainwashed by it. They think that's the wrestling business. It's not. It's his version of pro wrestling. Absolutely. There are a lot of things that have never been in the business until he started doing it. So it, like, the whole thing about, like, WWE has to own everything. No, they don't. All they have to do is lease it. You lease it while they're there and you make the money off them. It makes no difference to you. All you have to do is change the legalese in the contracts you sign. Say, like, while you're under contract here, you will retain this % of the profits or whatever as this name, and then you will have all legal rights to your name when you leave to make the money as you see fit. But while you're here, we're getting a piece. That's all you got to say. And then it brings more, like, it actually does. People think it's like, oh, you're promoting AEW by having AEW wrestlers on there or whatever. No, you're not. You're saying, look who we, like, look these people that couldn't get, like, you know, they aren't AEW anymore. They're here now, you know? If you're not watching AEW, you're not going to go start because one of their ex wrestlers showed up on fucking Raw. You're not watching it for the reasons you're not already not watching it. So, and even if they do, I mean, they're on different nights than you. So you're not even going to lose business.
Oh, no, exactly. You're right. I mean, it's true, man. And like Liz says in the chat, and it's cheaper for them because trademarks and copyrights are not cheap and they have to be renewed. And that's true.
Yeah, so, all that time that they were like signing guys and changing their names, you know, in the past like 15 years or whatever, a lot of those guys just sat and starved because they weren't being used and the WWE owned their name and did nothing with it. It was just so that they couldn't do anything when they, you know. So it's just, the argument makes no sense, and we're beyond all that now. It's time to move the business forward. And only people that can move the business forward is WWE. Nobody else can be an industry leader. No, they just can't.
Exactly. Everyone follows their trend.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Absolutely. And sticking with WWE news, finally, Hikuleo made his debut on Main Event in WWE. It's almost, he feels like a Bigfoot sighting, to be honest, at this point, Vet. But he finally made his debut. What do you think? He looks kind of a little bit out of shape, but he looks better than he did the last time I saw him, if that makes any sense. But do you think they're just going to slot him into, you know, obviously the bloodline, whatever's left of it at this point? I don't even consider it a bloodline anymore. It's just a mess, really, now. It took a long time for him to debut. Do you think they're going to sort of, you know, bring him up pretty fast? Or do you think he probably needs a lot more work? If I were them, I'd put him in NXT, obviously, and start learning more. Because he's always been pretty bad in the ring, from what I remember anyway, a few years back.
Well, it's difficult for a person of a certain height to have a certain level of coordination. You know, there are very few that are able to do it. So he struggles with being a big man because for normal everyday life for a big man, he's very agile and athletic. But, you know, in wrestling, if you're being agile and athletic, we got enough guys like that. Can you be a big man? You know, can you be a powerful big man? That's what we don't have that much of, you know? So That's something he's got to learn. I think that's something he kind of struggled with. He wanted to be in New Japan. He wanted to do have good matches and work with all those guys. Like they had to, he's got to work to their level and everything like that. So I think a lot of what you saw was him trying some stuff that he probably shouldn't have been doing, just to prove that he could do it. So I don't know. Now did he supposedly got a name change? Did they use the name change or did they go with Hikuleo on the
Hikuleo actually, as a matter of
okay.
fact.
So that's interesting.
That doesn't mean they won't.
But then they also brought in Jeff Cobb and said that's Jeff Cobb, and then the next time they changed it anyway. So which is weird.
When I look at JC, I think of JC Penney's now, and that's what I just call him. You know what I mean? Like,
JC Mateos does sound like an outlet clothing store, doesn't it?
I mean, seriously, it so ruins his aura too for me, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It makes him seem cheap having that name, but that's just me. I guess I need to get.
But at least it somewhat acknowledges the Jeff Cobb,
with the JC.
Which I do like that, because you can always say, well, that's obviously what it stands for. It's not like a complete Blake Monroe, So
see, that's weird, dude. I don't want to sound like a prick, but doesn't that come across like a trans name?
No, it just comes across as like the usual NXT throwing darts at a dartboard full of names. Like Monroe, obviously, because Marilyn Monroe, right? What else would you be referencing? But also, what are the odds that you would just have some, blonde supposed entertainer or whatever also have the same name as one of the most famous women who ever lived? Yeah, I'm sure they're related somehow, right? Yeah, okay.
Shut up, Matt. God damn it. Jimmy T sounds like a trans name.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt, by the way.
Yeah, what's up, Matt? So, I don't know. But as far as like, do I think he needs to go to NXT? I don't know. Sure, why not? Or don't go. Or
do
whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Speaking of whatever, did you see Rikishi needs to shut up, man. For real. Did you listen to his freaking rant about Jay and about him losing the World Heavyweight Championship by any chance?
I don't know. Does anybody actually listen to Rikishi's podcast on purpose, or do they only hear these clips?
I only hear the clips, straight up.
Right. So it's like the only time anybody ever talks about his show is when he says something complaining about his kid's booking. And I don't know, I don't know who actually listens to it just for fun. But
not me, that's for sure.
I guess he doesn't like that his son lost the world title.
Dude, if you heard the shit he was saying, it's ridiculous, man. Like, seriously, he needs to chill out. He almost alluded to an extent that it's almost could be racial related. You know what I mean? Which is ridiculous, right? The Samoans have always been, come on, let's be real now. But he's very angry, very upset. And the thing is, what I hate about him doing this, I get it, it's his son. He never mentions his other friggin' son. And I'm talking about, Jimmy Uso. But Jay is extremely, and Solo. He mentions Solo quite a bit. But the thing is, man, you can't just keep saying all this bullshit, because all you're doing is hurting your son anyway in the long run, man.
Maybe. I mean, Rikishi certainly has the right to his feelings. Even just as a human being, but also as like a legendary performer in the business. Like, he can say his opinion on whatever he thinks, and it's up to us to agree, disagree. There can be, sure, there could be racial components to it. The same racial components when they put the belt on him in the first place. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's just,
but like, I don't know. Everything is differently than I would have done it, obviously. But I thought it was a good little run for Jay. It didn't last long. It didn't need to. You cannot now take this away that he was a world champion. So that's always good. You can't keep it forever. And I think that Jim Cornette brought up some good points when he was talking about it, because he was saying that, like, for Walter not to get it back soon hurts him. for Jay to keep the belt too long would also hurt Jay, because he's not like, people might run the risk of getting tired of him if he has nowhere else to go. Like, he can't go up anymore. He's already at the top. So like now people could get tired of the act a little bit quicker. So like, you can't have it for too long, but you had it for long enough. You know, I see those points. I kind of agree with them to an extent. But you know, Rikishi's going to have a podcast. He's got to talk about something. And why wouldn't he talk about his? I just don't. The reason I asked about does anybody listen to his show is not like to take a shot at him. It's because I want to know, like, does he give booking advice for everybody else in the company? Like, does he talk about what they should do with everybody that's on TV that they're not doing stuff with? Does he complain that LA Knight doesn't get enough like everybody else complains? Like, is he talking about the women? Does he that aren't his daughter-in-law? Which, again, I think if we all remember from Total Divas, we remember what kind of a person he was in that situation, right? So maybe that's why he doesn't put his other son over as much, but maybe that's just racially motivated. Who knows? Who knows if it's racially motivated, whatever Rikishi's saying, like the culture's good enough, but not the actual people, whatever. I don't know, man.
He's a weird cat, bro. Like, and I remember that, what you just brought up, like it was yesterday, and I cringed then. And maybe he still has those same feelings now. Who knows? You might be onto something there, man, for sure. But
yeah, maybe. No, I'm just throwing it out on a podcast. I don't, don't look too far into anything I say, guys. I'm just another guy with an opinion. I have an opinion.
Well, yeah, you're the opinion haver, so absolutely. Also, sticking with WWE, Omos has actually re-signed a new multi-year contract.
Who?
That's good
Omos?
for him. Exactly. Who's Omos?
So he re-signed one instead of letting one run out. That's good.
Yeah, but what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, why are they just totally wasting him? I know he's green. I get it, right? But that doesn't mean you still can't have him as an attraction. And if you're not going to use him, why re-sign him anyway? So I find that kind of interesting. But are we going to finally see this guy, on a more semi-regular basis, you think, very soon? Or they're just signing him so no one else can have him?
I don't know. Because as I've pointed out in the past, everything is so like it's stacked, and there's not even room for the guys that they all want at the top. Yeah, between like of all people, John Cena's one of the guys at the top. Like in 2025, who would have thought that? So now you also have people like Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns whenever he shows up, just like the several guys. You have Walter, you have Jey Uso now. You have all these people. Like even that is like only two guys can have those world belts, but you've already got a bunch of other people that are like contenders for it. And then you got Omos. Like how this guy shouldn't lose to anybody, even though he has lost to people already. I mean, that should not have happened. And God knows what else. So, yeah, what are you going to do? He should come in and kill everybody, but they're not going to do that. So how do you have a character like that on the show and explain why he's not killing everybody? They don't know how to do that. Nobody does. That's the whole problem with every giant since Andre the Giant is you don't know how to have a guy on the show that doesn't kill everybody, even though he obviously would. So you're stuck. You have to have him because look at him, but you can't use them because you don't want them to be the guy, So
weird and bizarre, dude.
Yeah, I just read, where Omos was on a podcast and he was talking about his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and I was like, I forgot that ever even happened.
I don't even remember that.
I completely forgot,
God, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, weird. I don't actually remember it, even though I should. I guess it was very memorable, right?
So memorable. But that's the thing. It's like, so this guy's had like 3 WrestleMania matches at least.
Wow.
Like he had the one where he debuted with AJ against the New Day, and I thought that was a great debut and a great match.
Sure. And Rollins too.
was it? Well,
I'm
he
pretty
had
sure Seth.
he had a match against Brock, and he had a match against somebody else, I forget. But
I could have sworn it was Seth at Mania. I could be way wrong.
but the point
But
is, this is now not the time at this point. I'm sorry, we're past the he's green phase. It's too late. You put him out there.
Right. They've
Fucking,
killed him off, right?
he only needs to be so good. So, I mean, you know, too late. Let's go. If you're going to use him, use him.
Yeah, exactly. But for whatever reason, and one last thing, Vic, because I'm a little puzzled by this. Didn't we not hear that El Patron, or Alberto Del Rio, or whatever you want to call him, you know, they stripped him of the AAA Mega Championship.
Well, they didn't strip him. They beat him. That's different.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying, right? They just wanted to get the belt off him to the point where they actually told everyone that he was going to lose the belt before it actually happened.
Right.
If you noticed the posters to When Worlds Collide before that match actually took place. But now I notice that he's back and they're having a match at Triple Mania. So is he signed with WWE now at this point? Is it safe to say he is? Or what the hell's going on? Because I thought WWE, you know, didn't want anything to do with him, but here he is.
No, I just think they I mean, it was reported that he signed a contract.
Right, originally.
So if you believe that reporting, then, I mean, I guess he's signed a contract. I'm sure they could terminate that contract if they wanted to. I don't know. I don't have any answers for you.
Yeah, fair enough. Neither do I for myself.
And neither does anybody that acts like they do either, just for the record.
Exactly. Well, Vet, that's really the news, man. Everything else just seems pretty irrelevant to me.
All right.
You know, like you wouldn't really give a shit about things other than what I just mentioned. For other news, also you go check out the Smack Attack, because usually I hate repeating shit like 2 days straight, generally, and I try not to. But sometimes I do want to know, you know, your opinions on certain things, so I will repeat it here and there. But anyway, yeah, cold-blooded, like you said in the chat, the LWO could use someone like Del Rio. Well, yeah, he'd be a good mouthpiece for him, actually, because he's actually a decent like talker for a guy that's not, you know, that English is not his first language. I actually don't mind. Del Rio's a talent. He's just an idiot. That's the problem, unfortunately for him. Vet, I think it's time we put our sifting gloves on, because there's a lot of sifting to do on this summer break extravaganza.
Summer Blockbuster. Get it right.
Oh, whatever
punk.
the hell it's called. Jesus Christ.
It's like
Summer
a movie.
Blockbuster.
This is a movie.
It felt like a movie. Didn't they have like a movie reel as the logo sort of thing?
Sometimes. And any time that Toni Storm is on. But
yeah, but it was too dramatic, the music, even for this damn show.
well, let's get to it, because we're starting with Toni. She's being biked in by Luther.
Weird.
Ching ching.
Yep. Ching ching.
And then we see Christopher Daniels offer his support to Hang Person. They're in the back, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got your back," or whatever he said. You know, I don't know why he would after everything they've done, but whatever. And then as Hang Person walks away, we see Moxley, and he gives the signal. You know, it's like the Beat It video. You know,
just beat it.
Yeah, let's get this guy. So we see the Death Riders come out of the shadows and start trailing, you know, Hang Person. More on that later. But there's a little Act 1, yeah.
Was Mox there that whole time while they was just talking? Because that's the implication, right?
Yeah, because we couldn't see because the camera was not looking there.
But they were blind apparently.
Yeah, they couldn't see him. Yeah, no.
Fucking, I hate these type of segments because it's stupid, dude. But yeah,
they definitely took a cinematic approach to their summer blockbuster show.
Try to anyway, but you're right, they did.
And yeah, well, we're starting with Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. We were promised this match And here it is. So yeah, it's a match between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. Close your eyes and picture what that might entail, and that's what they did. For 30 minutes of Broadway. Because we have time limits now. Whenever we need a time limit, we have one. Whenever we don't talk about it.
Exactly. It's all about convenience, Vet. And is it just me? I like these guys. I really do. I'm a fan of both of theirs, right? For real. I'm not trying to troll. I'm not trying to be a prick. But I couldn't get into the match, man, for some reason. I don't know if I don't know. I just really couldn't get into it. Maybe it's just me. I'm a little tired per se. But I felt like I should have enjoyed this match, and I just didn't, man.
Is it because? Do you think it might be because you know that where they're going with it is not probably going to be satisfying, and that these guys have been made to look like clowns?
Well, yeah, exactly. Both of them, literally, and they make themselves. It's not just Tony's fault; it's also themselves' fault. You know what I mean? So maybe it's that too, bro.
Is it also because of the match itself? Is just the same thing that you've seen from them specifically, individually, together, and as well as like everybody else on the shows that is trying to be like them and do these same moves and do these same things? Is it because you've just seen this 1,000 times?
I mean, you're onto something. It could be, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
There's the answer,
anyway.
Right?
Yeah.
I've seen
I mean, the one intriguing thing that you have about this match is it's the crux of all sports. It's the crux of all combat. It's the crux of all like this or that. Who's going to win? That's the only thing that we want to know. That's why we watch all the sports, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, soccer, cricket, anything, boxing, MMA, foot races, swimming, everything, anything that you want to say. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? So this is like, oh, nobody's going to win. But before, like, as Swerve gets on the microphone and says that these people deserve to have a winner, here comes the Death Riders instead to make sure, because he said sudden death. And then the Death Riders are like, did someone say death?
I see what you did there. Oh, God. That's so corny, though, bro.
Yeah, so they came out, and then, but then before they can really do anything, because they start circling the ring like the sharks that they are, and like they often do, but then the Young Bucks come in, and they attack Swerve, and they cuff him to the ropes, and they attempt to recreate the tacky super kick party from, the Anarchy in the Arena match. They're like, we're going to get you. But, oh my God, the heroic Will Ospreay stepped in front and took the super kick party for Swerve Strickland.
I'm going to say it. That was gay as fuck, dude.
Oh my God. Jimmy is, he's so.
I'm sorry.
He's very phobic today, guys.
Nah, I don't mean it in that sense. I mean it as in corny sense. It was overly dramatic, dude. Let's be honest, man. Who the fuck is Swerve? Is that his uncle now? Is that how he looks at him? Is it Uncle Swerve to him? I know he calls him his older brother, but he's looking at him like something else, dude. I don't know, man. This thing between Hang person and the Swerve person and the bruv person, all these pronoun people, whatever the hell they are, right? This is weird love triangle going on between these three, man. I just don't like it, bro.
I think it's just Tony writing the stuff that he wishes he had in his friendship life. Like he wishes he had friends that would do these type of things, and he thinks that's good drama. That's
Tony,
just my personal guess. Yeah, TNT knows drama. Unfortunately, this is TBS. Very funny.
Yes, you're right.
So, yeah. So I see they're trying to do it, but But here's the thing. Like Labrat says, attack shoe is only good for one kick, right? Yeah. So the Bucks the Bucks look at it. The Bucks look at this situation where they kicked Will Ospreay in the face, even though they really wanted to kick Swerve, but they're looking at it like they accidentally kicked like a 4-year-old girl or something. That they're like conflicted about it. Yeah, since when do they care about Will Ospreay? They've never cared about him. They don't have any specific love for him. But now, they're doing the Undertaker streak end guy, you know, like over this, and like their feelings are hurt. It's the dumbest thing. And then like everybody gets in the ring, like the doctors to check on Will Ospreay or whatever. But then it's like, well, none of them were stepping in front of them like Will Ospreay did when they had Swerve handcuffed. No, I didn't see any trainers like trying to get in there in between it. So it's like once the thing happens, not only is the shoe only good for one kick, but it's like, but nobody can do anything until after it's happened. And then the Young Bucks have to stop. None of this makes any sense in the context of wrestling. You could write a scene in a movie or TV show similar to this, and you could find a way to make it make sense within that context. But there's too many moving parts, and it doesn't make enough sense to do it this way. And it just, to me, it just doesn't have the dramatic effect that they think it does.
And that's what's bizarre even more, Vet. The fact that they think they're pulling off seriousness, but it's either the wrestlers are that bad at acting it out, right? For example, but it's not their fault. I'm just trying to give Tony some sort of benefit of the doubt, right? It's either they're that bad or Tony is just, I don't know, man. He did admit he's only got 2 people that do the whole thing. Apparently Tim and whatever helper he decides to use on the day of their tapings. 2 people, apparently. I think it's time, Tony, you bring in some more opinions, bro. Not like WWE does, but just hear out some people, man, and go by what you think is best. But I can't take this shit. Like I said, this show was bizarre just from start to finish for me. And a lot of this shit, a lot of these storylines, the love triangles and the dick riders and the man, I don't know, bro.
This is all your fault, and this is all the fans' fault. Like, this is everybody's fault, not my fault, but it's everybody else's fault. You're the ones that said,
not your fault.
Like, everybody that complained, like they were just saying all AEW is just nothing but wrestling matches for 2 hours. So he was like, all right, I'll write a story, and this is what you get now. So people complain about this. Like, they'll always complain, and I'm not sure which one's better, but like if you're a wrestling booker and you can book matches, I'd rather you do that than try to write stories, because everybody's doing better stories than you. Even bad TV is better than this. Even bad movies are better than this.
Even B graders?
Yes.
Wow. Well, see, but you just reminded me, and I just thought about it. You're right, dude. As a matter of fact, if that were just a wrestling company, like when I say wrestling company, straight matches, dude. Fuck storylines, like you said. Don't even attempt to do anything like that, right? Just keep it as we are the best wrestling company where you're going to see the best wrestling in all of professional wrestling. If they actually said that, then I can look at it from that eye, you know what I mean? And not worry about all the other shit and actually be more honest towards the product. So maybe they should actually come out and just say it for what it is, instead of trying to be sort of like WWE, except way cornier in terms of their stories. Just be a wrestling show, man. Fuck it. Why not? That's why Lucha Underground was kind of popular, right? Because they told you what they were. You know what I mean? So you looked at it from what they said. They didn't take it. You know, they were saying they're going to be cinematic. They're going to do things differently. If you like it, cool. If you don't, oh, well, this is what we're doing. Maybe AEW needs to do that.
Well, they already did, and this what got us here. So it's just gonna, he's going. That's the problem. When the fans complain and he listens, he tries to address those issues, but it's not they're not necessarily equipped to address it in a satisfying way. I mean, when the WWE tries to do this stuff too, it sucks. Also, they just have better professionals in place to shoot it, but it's not any better when it comes off. I mean, they did so much stuff during the Bloodline where it's just everything is just like a slow, ridiculous. Why is this happening? Where is anybody to put a stop to this? Where are all the wrestlers in the back? Where are all the officials? Where's everybody while Roman Reigns slowly stalks for 20 minutes staring at his family members? Like, it's just so terrible. Like, anytime that wrestling tries to do anything dramatic, it usually fucking sucks. And even when it's the best wrestling company or whatever, or the best performers doing it, it's still worse than almost all of the worst TV and movies. It's just bottom of the barrel stuff, and it's just not your wheelhouse. So I understand why they keep doing it, because it's just, I guess, a habit at this point. You know, since they've gone to like hiring people to, you know, who couldn't get hired on a movie or TV show, so they had to get hired in wrestling. You know, and now you've got a writer's room full of quote unquote writers. This is what we get. And then if you have one or two guys trying to replicate the same thing, this is what you get. So, you know, anyways.
It is what it is.
So Renee is with Okada, and before you can say anything, Don Callis interrupts to ask, why is Okada in this match and not Kyle Fletcher?
Because it's Okada. Just quietly. No,
because because it was
of the bouts, first of all.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a champion versus champion thing. So
right, exactly.
Anyway, but besides that, he's just saying that, and then Okada says bitch, and then they leave.
Yeah, but there's more to come a bit later.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're not done.
Yeah.
Apparently, Commander has been hurt with a capital H, and he's been unmasked. So
yeah, rolling all over the floor, it seems.
Yeah. So there's that. More drama. So how many attacks are we? So we're up to 2 now. Like we had the super kick, the tacky super kick, and we've had the Commander off screen. Someone beat him up. The hurt business beat him up. Probably hurt.
Oh
syndicate.
Yeah, 3. Wow, no, that's 2. You're right.
All right, so we're up to 2. All right, next is the Legend of CMLL Mystico versus Blake Christian. And you know what this is for, Jimmy? You know what this match is all about, right? It's to get Mystico
that great win,
that strong win.
Hard-earned strong win, exactly.
That's right. We've been telling everybody that he's a legend, and forget the fact that you've only seen him in the random 6-man's buried in our segment 8 of Collision. You know, now he's ready to be pushed.
God. Yeah. Cool. I like Mystico, but yeah, he needed a strong win for him to lose to MJF at Grand Slam Mexico next week. Again, the same structured bullshit, Vet. Can they like be unpredictable for once? Just once, maybe a week?
We'll just have to tune in to Grand Slam Mexico to find out how unpredictable they can be because after Mystico wins with his Spanish Fly on Blake Christian, the Hurt Syndicate comes out to make an announcement. And that announcement is that, yes, indeed, MJF will be facing Mystico in Arena Mexico. So, God bless America as we get the whole deal with the flag and all this stuff.
God. Dude, is he not being El Grande Americano in AEW at this point? Even the vignette, the promo, it eerily felt very El Grande Americano-esque.
I would say that if I had a short memory like everybody else, but if you remember, MJF was doing this pretty much any time that he had to wrestle like somebody from Mexico or Japan.
Yeah, but this one they went that extra mile. I felt like a little bit, but
because he's got the Hurt Syndicate now.
And
they have more money.
What the hell was he wearing, dude? That's feral. The way he looks smaller wearing that shit with the suspenders on whatnot, whatever it is, the singlet. You know what I mean? Like, why the hell is he wearing that? Doesn't that make him look smaller? He looks way out of place too, like that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it. It just stood out to me way too much.
Well, regardless, Mystico cusses him out in Spanish, and then they give Mystico a beating, and they try to take off his mask. And then we get the save from Speedball, Knight, and Dorada, because at least they did this in a thing that where it made sense that they had to come out because they're supposed to wrestle the Hurt Syndicate. So that was fine. They go straight into the trios match. MVP during the match leaves the commentary position to push Mike Bailey off the top rope into a hammerlock DDT from MJF. So MJF gets his strong win. And then they ripped Dorada's mask off. And then Místico ran back in and put that armbar thing he does on MJF real quick, and then got out of dodge before the Hurt Syndicate could get him again.
And
so we're ready now. That's all the build-up we need.
Right, exactly. Not only did he get the strong win, but he got the strong sort of, the strong sort of look over the heel as well, which means he's going to lose, you know what I mean, next week. But again, stop making it so obvious, Tony, please, just a little bit. I wonder which Mexican wrestlers will go over, funny enough. Because, Tony, he likes putting all these guys over. Remember even him and TNA? TNA hardly won a match, dude, against any AEW guy.
He owes CMLL. He owes them. He needs to give them a win. He needs to. They should all go over.
Dude, it's bad. It's that. Yeah, he does. He really does. But anyway, let's keep moving.
Okay, we're moving. It's Hang Person music time. We're playing Hang Person's music, but it's not your average Hang Person entrance because he is bound and gagged with duct tape over the mouth, and the Death Riders kick his ass all the way down to the ring, and throw him in there for as I guess Moxley deemed it, a real conversation.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. You know what was weird though, dude? Did he really sell that beating when you think about it?
When I think about it, no. Do I think about it? No.
He really didn't. He was gagged, like you said. He got beat up, and then by the end of it, he's ripped off the friggin' tape anyway, and he's mouthing off of friggin' Moxley anyway. Like nothing happened.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, we don't know how badly they beat him up beforehand, and maybe they didn't beat him up that bad. And also, we've seen him have, 40-some minute matches with Will Ospreay where he wouldn't sell anyway. So what can the Death Riders do, really?
No, you're right.
And they also, when they brought him into the ring and Moxley started talking to him, that gave him a chance to catch his breath too. So he's he could still breathe through his nose, so he's able to catch his breath. And he's just sitting there. And then when he's had enough and he fully catches his breath and recovers, he headbutts Jon Moxley from his knees. And then they all start kicking his ass again. But then the Ops run in, and then they free Paige, and Paige is pissed off, and he says something to the effect of like, I'm gonna go hunting, and if I catch any of you guys and your heads are gonna roll, or whatever he said, something to that effect. He's gonna kill somebody.
Can someone tell him that he got beat up? Like someone reminded me he was beat up. But anyway, what am I talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, when I saw a clip of this before I actually watched it, I was worried that this is gonna be one of those like they're in the ring for like 10 minutes or something of Jon Moxley cutting a promo and nobody's going to come out to help. But it didn't last that long, thankfully.
It was actually pretty quick, this whole thing.
Yeah, but it's just the idea of like, because we seen when they go backstage and you see Tony just sitting there at Gorilla with the headset and Jerry Lynn right there. And just imagining him just sitting at Gorilla while this is going on, like, this is fine. Yeah, my champion took a hostage in the ring. Like, it's fine. No big deal. Like, what do you mean? Call the police.
Yeah. We never see cops on AEW television. You notice that? Never.
Yeah. So
they don't exist in this AEW universe, whatever you want to call it.
No. But you know who does exist in this AEW universe? Megalope. The new hot, fresh tag team.
Yeah.
And there's an even newer, hotter, and fresher, even though they're both old, tag team. Jay and Tay, or Jay and Ty, or however you say her name.
Jay Tay.
Yeah. So we've got Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay and Ty Mello.
Can we just call Ford and the goddess herself in Bayne? Why not? Because since they've got something in common, you know what I'm alluding to, right? Someone was not just one currently, but one of the other ones is ex also. I mean, can we call them the Janela Babes or something like that?
That's gross on so many levels.
I know, it's feral, dude. I can't believe I even said that.
Yeah.
I can't believe. Team Joey. There we go, lad, Brad.
Well, anyway.
Oh, God.
So anyway, they had this match, and then like toward the end, Penelope was begging for the tag. Like, let me do it, let me do it, let me do it. And then Megan was going to go over there. But so she tags her in, and then before Penelope can do whatever she's planning on doing, Megan Bayne gets grabbed from outside by Anna Jay. Anna Jay hooks the sleeper over the ropes and holds her there just long enough for Ty to like knock out Penelope Ford with some knee to the face thing. I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
I can't stand Tay, to be honest, man. I don't even know. I know why she's back, but I just, can't stand. The other two have got potential at least, but I don't know, man. This is really nothing. It really goes nowhere in the long run with these four women. I don't know, man. It was a fine match, though, I guess.
Well, we have a package explaining the history of the rivalry between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada next. So for anybody that wasn't sure, here's that package that everybody always complains that they don't do. So here it is.
Well, and
it was pretty nice package.
Well done, actually, to be fair. I'll give him that. But it took forever, dude. At one stage, I'm not going to lie, because obviously we're already very knowledgeable about their feud. I was getting to a point where I was going to actually start forwarding it because I'm thinking, is this still going? Like, really? But credit to him. At least it explained it and laid it out completely for anyone that doesn't know Okada and Kenny's history. But it gets even better right about now, actually, Vet. So please continue.
Better. All right. Well, after the package, they go to break, and then they come back, and Tony Schiavone brings them out for their contract signing. They both sign the contract. Okada doesn't say anything. Kenny says a little something. They both sign it. Look like they're about to shake hands. Then they shake hands. Then they start jawing at each other while they're waiting for the next spot, which is Don Callis coming out. He has something important that he wants to say. So basically, Kenny tells him to shut up. Nobody cares. Everybody knows all of his tricks, and we're not interested. And he's like, oh, you don't know all my tricks. Yeah. And then from behind, Okada attacks Kenny Omega. Oh, my God.
What a swerve, bro.
Wow.
I was like, whoa, dude.
And this is
like,
where
seriously.
this is Okada's absolute Achilles heel, is trying to do violence. He can't do it. He can't fight. He can't do anything that looks like it hurts if it's not in the context of a pro wrestling move in the ring. Like if he's trying to like throw forearms or punches or anything like that, it's just, this is where he gets exposed a bit.
But to be fair, I know I'm probably giving Okada too much of the benefit of the doubt here. I also blame the cameramen too for making him look even worse.
Yeah, they didn't help, but it was really,
it didn't help.
It's just not it. This is not what he does. It's just not what he does.
But
so
I thought Tony knew this.
You know how. Yeah. Well, he's such a fan. He should know. But I guess it's one thing to say you are, and it's another thing to understand it. But it's like Mark Henry says that's what I do. Yeah, this is the opposite of that. This is not what I do.
Oh God.
So this happens, and then
it's better though.
Yeah. And I should point out, because I forgot, Cold-Blooded putting over the actual championship belt they made, which is very good.
Do you like it?
Yeah, the belt is fine, but the idea is like, okay, you had these, like, one of these belts we don't need, right? But
Clearly.
one of them existed for a specific reason. It was existed to be won and defended because of a tournament. Exactly. So what happens now if the belt gets absorbed into this new belt? Does this get contested under Continental Championship rules, which is a 20-minute time limit with, no interference on either side? Like, or do the rules just go away with the belt? They didn't really say that. And before we get the unified champion, what rules are we contesting the belt under? Is it under international rules or is it continental rules?
Well, that's a good question. But knowing AEW, where's the neuralizer? I need to neuralize you right now, Vet. It's one of these.
Oh, okay.
Things. Forget you even said all that. That was your face. You did that. You
just flashy thing me.
That was great.
Hey, Jimmy, you ever flashy thing me? No.
That was good the way you did that. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, well, anyway, we don't know these things. But what we do know is that Don Callis has one of those extendable police batons, and he gives it to Okada, and Okada hits Kenny in the stomach, and he drops an elbow on him from the top, which is kind of funny. I guess they were trying to do the Jacob Fatu MLW type stuff, where they're trying to like stretcher Kenny out of the ring, and he's just like dropping elbows.
Oh, man.
It was actually a good looking elbow here, like thankfully, compared to the other stuff he was doing in this. I mean, the work baton shot was fine, but like it was all the forearms of shit he threw beforehand. That's the part that sucks. And then
there's a trend to this show about good forearms, but I'll point that out later on. But Kenny over friggin' sold this shit like an idiot.
We didn't even get to the second elbow, which is they're getting ready to carry him. They're getting ready to carry him out. Like they finally get him out of the ring on the board or whatever, and they're trying to get him on the gurney and take him to the back. And Okada drops another elbow off the apron. And at this point, Kenny Omega hawks up like a glob of like Jello pudding's worth of fake blood. Like he's
the way he sold it.
It is the phoniest.
But he's like,
yeah, is that, yeah, well, he has to because his mouth is full of this. It's way too much.
He was probably choking legitly.
Yeah. Dude, I remember we did a rib. Well, I didn't take part in it. I just saw it. But there was they did a rib one time when they were supposed to do the spot. I think it was Pat Buck was going to hit somebody with like a guitar, and break it over him like Jeff Jarrett, right?
Right.
And you know how Jeff Jarrett, like they put like the tiniest pinch of like baby powder in the guitar so that like it has like a poof, like a dust poof when it, just a little something just for a visual effect, right?
Yeah.
They poured like an entire can of baby powder in this guitar, and Pat Buck had no idea. He goes out there, he hit. I don't remember who it was that he hit. He busts the guitar on this guy. Powder. There's no cloud. Powder is just pouring out like sand from an hourglass in the ring. It's like there's a pile of it. There's like a mound of powder in the middle of the ring.
Oh God, I'm choking. I can't laugh for too long. You know how I start choking, man, but it's fucking funny because the imagery in my head is just that is classic, man. I'm literally in tears, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking
so
hell, man.
Anyway, yeah, this was like that, except out of Kenny Omega's mouth instead of out of the guitar.
It was like a volcano, dude.
Yeah.
Like just shooting out.
Zane Vicious, somebody else did that too. Who gives a fuck what somebody else did? I'm telling a story about what I saw happen. Get the fuck out of here with that whack comment. Somebody else did it. Hey, did you know somebody else had wrestling matches too? Why are we even talking about this show? We should just end the show. Dumbass. Anyways, so Kenny Omega does this, and it's the worst thing ever, and it's phony, and nobody is thinking this is high drama. Also, I'm pretty sure that's not how diverticulitis works. If anything, I think stuff would be coming out the other end if you dropped. Like it should have been coming out of the seat of his pants, right? Like shouldn't he have bled out of his asshole?
That would have been funny. Not funny, but funny. They should have done that. That makes sense, though, right? But
Yeah.
they don't think. No one's like, oh,
Right.
I know. I had, the diverticulitis,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck
The
it's called. I can't
intestinal
pronounce
the
it.
intestinal damage that went all the way back up through the stomach, up through the esophagus, and everything, all the way through the intestines.
Oh
don't
man,
know.
they dropped the ball. They should have. They really should have gone the other way, literally. Oh,
Yeah.
that would have been an image though, dude. But Jesus Christ, Kenny. I guess look, I'm not gonna blame him. Maybe he did it on purpose. Maybe he oversold it like that, or he was choking.
Well, I wish he didn't.
Same here. Did you
Wish
see
he
the
didn't.
memes though? The memes are hilarious.
Yeah.
The memes make me laugh. The amount of memes I saw, they're all freaking funny as.
So anyway, afterwards, they Don Callis and Don is like, you would think for an industry veteran, Don would do better in this. He looked phonier than anybody, especially the part where like he's like when Christopher Daniels got in the ring and like made a fist, and Don Callis has like the police baton, but he's like he doesn't know what to do. He's so, what happened to him?
He's always been overrated for real. I'm talking about even back in the 90s. Let's be real, dude. He's kind of sucks always, but he's just always been around, man. Like, you know what I mean? He's really a poor man's Hamin, but extremely poor.
I mean, it's just his face doesn't match what he's doing. But
He might be a decent booker, say. Like, he understands the business, don't get me wrong. But just the way he does some shit, really, I've never rated him that much, man, that highly over the years.
well, anyway, so they run into the back, and he's just like, "They're gonna kill us. Let's get out of here."
Let's get out of here until kind of quickly. They're going to kill us.
Yeah,
And the
like
guy,
who?
whoever was driving, he fucking flew off, bro.
Yeah,
Like in a quick second, man. But that was funny, man. Like, but are they trying to be funny? That's what I'm asking you, Ben. Are
no,
they actually trying to be funny, or they're not? That's what I want to
No.
know. Well, if that's
no.
the case,
Whoever
that's
whoever
sad.
came up with this thought it was going to be serious drama, and if the guys performing it were
boy.
trying to rib on it,
I
that's
reckon
just
they're ribbing, bro.
unprofessional.
That must be, right? But still,
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. But
Ugh.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a series of unfortunate things.
I mean,
Series of unfortunate events. It was a Lemony Snicket segment. Let's just move on from it because I'm sure they all wish that they could.
Right. It was just ridiculous. This is the comedy hour now, like I was saying before. Like, now it's all funny for me.
All right. Adam Cole Bebe, he's on commentary for a random, I don't remember this match getting made. Kyle Fletcher versus Anthony Bowens.
No reason. They're there.
They might have set it up, but I don't remember.
But I want to ask you, what the hell was Cole wearing, dude?
What was he wearing?
He looked like a friggin' farm fucking, like, worker or some shit. Like, he was wearing, like, jorts, right? With, like, a wife beater sort of thing. But he had his knee pads on, too, though. It just looked weird, bro. He looked like a freaking idiot. He reminded me of a leprechaun, bro, in some ways.
Well, he's got to work later, so he just decided I'll get dressed now and go out there.
Oh, man, he just looked like, I don't know, he looked like a child, like Lab Rat was saying. He really did. He looked like he was, like, ready to work on a farm, dude, not wrestle.
Well, speaking of child, I have no patience for Kyle Fletcher anymore, so whatever. He won with the brain buster like you knew he would. He wasn't going to, like, nobody's going to do a job. The 5-tool player, his push is over.
I hate that, man. That name.
He Lance Archer's out there. He tells
Fat
Billy
Lance?
he tells Billy Gunn to suck it. So let's go.
I feel bad for Lance. He's just let himself go now. He doesn't give a shit anymore.
How could you?
No,
So
I
then
don't blame him.
MJF gets that propaganda pice that you were probably talking about earlier as the Grande Americano type
Oh, yeah,
package,
that's
but yeah,
right.
he gets that. So that was good. And then we had Carlos Cabrera. Now this is where the show really starts
This
to
was
like
the best
take a
thing
toll
on the whole show, bro. Straight
Yeah,
up.
well, it didn't start out that way. It started out with
No.
this guy making his way slowly through his introductions, and then he finally introduces the Atlantises. Okay,
The Atlantises. Yeah,
Yeah.
junior and senior.
yeah, junior and senior,
Uh,
and then FTR comes out with Big Stoke, and they do their
yeah, Big
shtick.
Stoke.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so like you said, you put Stokely over.
Dude,
Go ahead and
he killed this segment,
Yeah.
bro. I'm not
If
gonna
you
lie,
remember
he
any of the stuff he said, let people know because I forgot a lot of
Oh,
it.
man.
But I know it was funny what he said.
It was funny, man. But basically, what he was saying. Oh man, I can't remember it for what it's like. It's there, but I can't like get it out in words. I almost want to look at the promo because it was funny as hell, man. And all I'm saying is, for anyone that didn't see it, just go look for it because he absolutely annihilated both Atlantis. Basically, calling out how old Senior is and how crappy he is, and basically he said something also about oh my god, what was it, man? It was like a sexual fucking reference. I can't remember, dude, but it was hilarious, man. Just go and check it out. But I need to see it. It will come back to me, but I can't remember word for word. All I know is I was laughing throughout it. It was worth checking out. I need to even see it again, but it was funny as hell. Even I'm not gonna lie, even Dax and Dax and Cash and even freaking made me laugh.
Well, I admit that what they were saying was funny, and they do the same thing that they did before, though, where he's like asking a question to one of the Atlantises, and then he takes the microphone away before he can answer. But here's my problem with all that. Okay, so a la carte, we're looking at the promo and saying it was funny. But in reality, the whole picture, Atlantis Jr. Atlantis Jr. was on the receiving end of this like last week.
Right.
So he already knows what they're going to do. So he just stands there and he's going to sit through all this again. Like he's going to sit through this humiliation. He's just going to stand there with his hands on his hips, like waiting for them to stop talking. Like the minute they came in the ring, he should have punched him because I could understand like if he was not the luchador that, that they talked to last week, but he was. It was this guy again. And the only difference was he had Templario with him instead of his dad. So like he already knows what FTR is going to do. And he just sat there and took it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Why?
It looks like because Tony told him that's why. On top of
I don't
that,
like
though, the old man is supposed to be was some big legend. Mr. Atlantis, please do not ever throw punches ever again because that were the worst things. When they started brawling, those punches looked really savage, man. It was just wasn't connecting at all. But why are these four? I don't. It's a weird sort of feud, but it's become a comedy act to me. Like I said, man. But Stokely, Big Stoke is he's hilarious, man. When he's on fire, bro.
Yeah, more of him, please. So anyway, this whole thing breaks down. Like once it breaks down into violence, then Cole gets in the ring, and then the Don Callis family gets in the ring, and then Hechicero gets in the ring. Apparently, he's not part of the Don Callis family because they keep advertising Don Callis family and Hechicero, so he's not. I guess he's not let in the family. He's just a gun for hire, or he's adopted, or whatever. And then, then Templario comes in, and then Bandido comes in, and then they hit some music, the Hellhounds music, and Brody King's come in. So it's like just all these people hitting the ring.
And then Adam Cole saved the day pretty much too.
Yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
Me.
I've already lost count of how many people have attacked out of turn. I'm sure I'm on my second, I'm on another set of fingers now. I can't quite get it.
Dude, I wish I could play the video because I'm looking at the video right now in front of me, and I just want to play it just to show everyone, but I can't, obviously, for obvious reasons. But just go and
well, like you say, you already told them go check it out if you want to see it.
Yeah, because
if they wanted to see it, they would have seen
it. Right? Because if I knew, I would have taken the notes down for that. But looking at this rundown in front of me, even they don't remember what he said. All they're saying is it was very funny. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, just go and check it out. You understand what we're saying. It was absolutely funny as hell.
All right, so Lexi is with the Learning Tree. Remember the Learning Tree?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Learning Tree. But yeah, it was Big Bill and Pakeith.
Pakeith, yeah. And then who they need to start stacking some wins. You know, we remember that's what they were told to do by Chris Jericho. So
that's true.
Now, you know, they need to stack some wins, but somebody actually steps up to them. It's the Workhorsemen of all people.
Oh my God, where did they crawl out from, dude?
I don't know.
Like,
I might have to enact an unprecedented third disavow rule if I have to watch JD Drake on a television screen in the year 2025. I can't do it. I can't do it. Anthony Henry's one thing, but JD Drake.
Oh, I thought he was dead, bro. Not literally, just quietly, but you know what I mean. That guy has not been in my mind. I mean, it's been a good year since we've seen him, at least, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for everybody, including us, we had to see him again. He's back.
Ugh.
Hopefully not for long, obviously.
Cole says, isn't he the vice president? That's a different JD.
God.
But we have the CEO for dinner and a wrestling match.
You know what? I started paying attention. I'm looking. She's kind of getting chunky, bro. Is it the buffets? Are they ribbing her with the buffets even? I mean,
maybe.
Did you hear what Nigel said as well? When she went straight, so obviously she didn't hear it yet, right? But the second she sat down, he looks like towards the buffet, and he's like, "Oh, I would love to like get my mouth on that, like that." But you know what he's really alluding to? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just like, "Oh God, Nigel, man! If she heard you say that, you're probably gonna be blackballed for life." You know what I mean? But I don't think she did. But that popped me as well. Everyone was being a comedian, dude. Again, the second half of the show, everyone's ribbing everyone, bro. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess how else are they going to enjoy this shit when they get told to do this and this and that, right? I mean, might as well make the most of it. Let's have a laugh.
Yeah. And that steak she had on the
It's fucking real rare. Like
it looked like a barbell plate, not like
it was fat ass,
dude.
Like tall. Like,
how the hell could you cut that thing? You need a chainsaw for that.
But what's up with the buffets though? Why are they doing this every week?
Just because it's opulent. Anyway, the match.
I don't get it.
The match itself was, don't ask questions, Jimmy. Why are you asking questions about
true.
Why are they doing a buffet? Who cares at this point? After everything else we've seen, that's what you're worried about? Let the CEO have a buffet. She wants to sit out there and have a nice meal while she watches a wrestling match. Don't you ever eat while you watch wrestling? Seems like you would have sometime over the past 40 years, right?
I mean, I did watching this.
You might have even eaten a steak.
Not a steak though.
Okay, so in all the years you watch wrestling, you've never eaten a steak.
Oh no, I have, absolutely have.
Then what are we talking about?
Her steak was freaking fat, bro.
Well, nobody's eating a steak like that, obviously. But I'm just saying, any steak.
Bro. Oh Jesus.
So the match itself is Dark Julia.
Oh yeah.
Dark Julia.
And she's also accompanied by. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Should they call her Sky Black at this point, by the way?
I mean, Dark Sky is right there. We've been giving it to him.
Dark Sky, right. Because she's not blue, that's for sure.
No. She's definitely dark. And they're taking on Toni Storm, of course. But then they jump Toni at the beginning. So that gets Dark Sky ejected.
Yeah.
So because she's so dark, she has to follow the rules and leave.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyways, they have the match. Julia goes for her, dark salt or whatever, and then
Dark salt.
yeah, and then she yeah, she misses, but she lands on her feet kind of and rolls through, and then as she's gaining her balance back, standing up, Toni comes in with the big package for the win. So actually good finish there. Whoever booked that.
She was even calling the commercial breaks too, Toni. I was impressed.
Yep. So that happened, and then Mercedes gets in the ring. Stands face to face with Toni, gives her a very sensual sort of a sniff,
very teasy.
Sniff, and then she whispers something into her ear, and then she gives her a beating, of course, because again, you got to have an attack every single segment. Somebody's got to attack somebody and all this stuff. And then
every segment, dude, it felt like that.
Yep.
Every single one.
Everyone. Mina Shirakawa comes in to make the save, and Mercedes takes a powder, but then she doubles back and beats up Mina too.
Oh God! Where have we
shit
seen these
shit
before?
cans her. Get out of here. And then she's back with Toni, and she has the belt, and she's like, "Kiss this title goodbye."
CEO.
Very cinematic. Very.
Oh, extremely cinematic. It was chef's kiss, legitly, because of the steak.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you're right though, and I don't blame you, Liz, by the way, about sleeping through this match. There was times I was on the nod, and we'll get to that soon. But I can't help but notice she is putting on weight now. Since you pointed it out, and I just keep looking at her stomach, she has put, even her face is puffed up, dude. Have you noticed that?
Well,
What's
she's
going
making
on,
that money,
though?
and when you make that money, you gain that weight. It's just the way it
That's
is.
what I'm starting to think. Are they ribbing her with the damn steaks and the buffets, bro? I mean, come on.
Who would have the balls to rib her?
I know, but I mean, she wasn't eating. To be fair, I'm just saying. If it's
Well, maybe that's her. Maybe that's her way of looking at the situation and being like,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm a little fat. Maybe I should turn it into a gimmick.
Well, if you notice, it's always onesies now too. She's not even showing her stomach anymore, dude. You notice that? So there's something to it for sure.
Yep. So Lexi's with Ricochet, and he's looking for a crew, obviously, and he's definitely looking for a crew because he's got the Navy jacket from One Piece or whatever, the Navy Admiral jacket. But then here comes Blake Christian and Shotty Lee.
Oh my God. I've never heard him speak in my life.
No. And what'd you think?
That was weird. I'm not going to lie, dude. Him talking was like, what? I mean, it was fine, I guess. But Ricochet, total funny dude, man. I mean, seriously, the comedy just keeps on going on this show. And him saying whatever he was saying about his new crew. I don't know why he needs a crew to, get a belt or whatever. But I think it'll be absolutely hilarious when he does form this crew, if he does. And they win him a belt for him or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It would be pretty funny. But Ricochet is another one, man. He's putting out some of his best work. He's not the same old Ricochet. This is a completely different Ricochet that we've ever seen. We've never seen this side of him until he left WWE, to be fair. And that laugh, as dorky and as stupid as it is, it's starting to get over with me, dude.
Yep. Well, you're supposed to not like it. And that's the thing. When there's too many heels doing stuff that people like, or people end up liking it regardless. So, I mean, what can you do?
He's not doing anything for me to hate it. That's the problem too, though, Vet. I mean, should he tone it down a little bit? I mean,
no, it's just that I don't think it's just that you're liking it. I think you're just seeing the genius of it.
Maybe.
And of course, once it gets to a certain point, people are always going to act like they saw it from the beginning, but they didn't.
You saw it from the beginning,
yeah.
So I'll give you that. I'm giving you all that credit. You know what I mean? Absolutely, and I always have.
Well, apparently Ricochet, as far as seeing things from the beginning, he sees the same thing that I sees, as far as Blake and Lee go, which is nothing, because he tells them they ain't got it. And basically to hit the bricks.
And he's like, yeah. And that was that.
All right. Now we get to probably one of the better parts of the show. Unfortunately, It was buried in the middle of a bunch of nothing, and it happened for no reason whatsoever. But this is where we got a random as hell Mark Briscoe, Tomohiro Ishii, and Willow Nightingale versus MXM Collection and Taya Valkyrie.
I thought of you straight away when I was watching that match, and I'm thinking, okay, this has got a lot of his menu here, right? But it's in a weird mix. Like, so now I'm gonna ask you, how did you feel with this odd mixture of a la carte sort of menu here? Because you had a lot of them that you do like mixed up with a whole bunch of women for whatever reason, and wrestlers all random. What was going on here? What was the point of this?
I guess the point was to take up an extra 10 minutes, but I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, yeah, from my point of view, I enjoyed it. They did a lot of fun stuff in a match. It's like a goofy house show match, you know, with some.
It was definitely a house
yeah,
match
nobody doing anything to get hurt, just having a good time. The crowd, you know, liking it, but it's just after so much show that they've already been watching, and just the randomness of it, and the fact of it being, like having, yeah, just basically no point to it. That's the only thing that's working against it. So maybe if this had gone on earlier in the show, it would have been like, yeah, it still would have been random, but you know, I don't know.
Well, Labrat says, I think it was built up in Ring of Honor. Well, if it was, no one saw it. So
right. Well, that would explain why you would have MXM Collection out of nowhere, because they are over on that show a lot more.
That's true. And I hate that. I'd rather them be on, because I don't mind MXM. I really don't. You know what I mean? I think they're actually pretty good at what they do. They just don't get a fair go at it.
Yeah. But anyway, so Willow hits a Dr. Bomb on Taya for the win, and everybody's happy. And for once, there's no post-match angle. It's just a match, a beginning, middle, and end, and then we move on to the next thing. So that's refreshing. Yeah. Although we did see Chris Statlander watching the monitor earlier, and this now we're going to something that apparently happened last week, because that's what they say, it happened last week. But apparently someone TMZ'd Chris Statlander and started asking her questions with a camera, and then all of a sudden she's starting to answer the question, and then here comes Wheeler Yuta out of nowhere, and is starting to sort of like try to convert Statlander over to the death side, if you will.
He needs to stop talking, man. He talks like a real dweeb, dude. Well, like he comes across like even like a dog, but like he's like, I can't explain. He just doesn't sound tough. You know what I mean? At all, dude. Like,
well, he's not supposed to. He's Wheeler Yuta.
I get that, but he's part of the Death Riders, right? Shouldn't he have?
Well, he's like
some
the
sort
pet.
Of thing?
He's like the pet.
Yeah,
of the Death Riders.
I guess, but still, man, just
he's like the wet cat that they brought in from the rain.
That stinks.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. I just can't stand. I don't know, man. He doesn't suit it. I just feel like he doesn't suit the Death Riders, but whatever. Moxley sees something in him. A lot of guys see something in him in AEW, it seems, including Tony. So
well, it was Danielson that saw something in him. I don't even know what Moxley thinks or if he cares. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so he does that. And so Wheeler offers advice, and Marina Shafir offers a death stare. Just stares at Statlander.
Would you take advice off fucking Yuta?
I mean, the advice wasn't bad, but it's something that's just about like not worrying what other people say, which, you know, I guess.
But isn't that like a common, like, you know? Just
because it's common doesn't mean it's bad. I guess the next match was the Beast, the Beast. Yeah, him versus Bandido.
Yeah.
So Mordos comes out with nobody. Bandido comes out with the Outrunners, not Los Outrunners, mind you, just the Outrunners.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, and then they go back. They go to the back, so they just come out with him, and then they go to the back.
It was just
so
again, just weird, bro. You know what I mean? Just strange shit.
So I have anyway, Bandido wins with that fall away salt thing he does where, the thing that Colt Cabana said, that's not a real move. But the funny story I have in this match is I didn't watch this match until yesterday. And I earlier in the week, I heard the results of the show and the results was reported that, that Mordos won the match, and I was like, that's got to be a mistake. So when I was watching this, I was like, maybe something will happen where he actually wins, and then that gives him a shot at Bandido's Ring of Honor Championship for a future match. And then he didn't win, so they were just wrong about it. But for a second there, I had my hopes up that something could happen.
Yeah, but how did they get it wrong? That's strange in itself.
I don't know. So Renee asks Mercedes, hey, what did you whisper to Tony in the ring right there? And she was like, none of your business. I don't kiss and tell, basically is what she said. And then she's like, she wants to challenge the CML Women's Champion. And then the CML Women's Champion, who I don't even know who it is, and the announcers didn't tell me either, came in and punched her and said, challenge accepted. So I guess we're getting that. Way to quickly, lazily set up a match for what is it called? Worlds Collide? Oh no, not Worlds Collide. Grand Slam Mexico.
That's what they're doing essentially. But
yeah, so
slam.
You known you were gonna do Grand Slam Mexico. You knew you had Mercedes. You knew they had a women's champion. Why are we just now hearing about it?
Because Tony does things last second, it seems.
All right, who is that?
What? What are you talking about?
The women's champion.
In AAA, you're talking about?
AAA.
I mean
CMLL.
I mean CMLL, because you said Worlds Collide. I just thought I don't know. Who is she?
Who is it? We'll sit here all day and wait for you guys to tell us.
Yeah, because I have no idea who she is. Straight up. They didn't tell us who she. If AEW doesn't care who the hell it is, why does anyone care who the hell it is? You know what I mean?
They want us to just know. All right, well, while we're waiting for that update, Renee is trying to update us on Ospreay's condition. And then apparently Hank Person and the Young Bucks are both wandering the halls at the same place at the same time. Hank Person wants to know how's Will Ospreay doing. The Bucks are like, hey, we did you a favor, all this stuff. And he's like, I didn't ask you for any favors. Stay out of my business. Stay out of Will Ospreay's business. And then, Jimmy, he said, stay out of Swerve's business.
Oh, shit.
He cares. He cares about Swerve a little bit.
That's what I mean.
Oh, my God. Maybe he doesn't hate Swerve Strickland after all. Even after all they've been through. Maybe he cares about him a little bit. And then Prince Nana sticks his head out the door like, did I hear that? Anyways, after
oh God.
Yeah, after that, they go back in the after everybody fucks off or whatever, the camera goes inside the trainer's room where Will Ospreay's at, and apparently Nana and Swerve were both there the whole time, and Nana was like, "Did you hear that?" And Swerve said, "Every word." And then the crowd is like, woo, he heard it, dude. He heard it.
He heard it.
Now he knows that Hangman cares about him.
God. Is it getting to a point where these three guys need a room?
Well, they have a room.
Oh,
it's right there.
True, they were in the room, right? You're right.
Yeah, they had a room. Well, Ospreay's even laid down on a table. So make of that what you will.
Hell, by the way.
Yeah.
Paige found out Swerve has a butterfly collection.
Interesting.
I wonder if they trade fucking butterfly stories. But anyway.
They probably do. What is it next? Thekla?
Oh, yeah, it was.
All right. Talk about that for a second.
Huh? What'd you say?
Talk about that for a second.
I mean, what do you want me to say about this?
I want you to talk about the match and what you thought of it, because I know you love these women.
Well, first of all, I didn't know much about Thekla, however you want to pronounce it. Is that what they call it? Thekla in AEW? Is it a silent H? Is that how you say it right, Vent? Or am
Tekla, I guess. Yeah, you could say Tekla.
Well, it was Thekla against Queen Aminata, of course. And basically, Thekla used all sorts of spider tricks to open the window to success, Vet. Because she does end up obviously getting the win, but it wasn't really a long match. It was pretty quick, to be honest. I just don't like how with Queen Aminata, I feel like they're going backwards with her again, dude. Like, because I really think she's a talented, like, female wrestler. I truly mean that. I'm not saying that to be funny. I do think she's talented, but now she's dropping to these new women. And Thekla, I like her look, but I need to see more with her, man, because I don't know enough about her. You know what I mean? I know you're saying she was in Stardom, right? Before AEW. She's got a good look to her, man. I'll give her that. The spider thing, I don't know, dude. I've seen it with Bray Wyatt.
Well, anyway, I'm back from my fact-finding mission. The women's champion's name is Zeuxis.
What is it?
Zeuxis, or I guess if you were pronouncing it like in Spanish, it should be Zuhis. But I've heard people say Zeuxis. Zeuxis.
Okay. Is she trying to be like a female Zeus here? Is that what's going on?
Maybe. Yeah, I know who that is. I've heard of her, but I don't recognize her by mask because I don't watch enough. So, yeah, anyways, there's that. Now, as far as this, Thekla and Queen Aminata. So, I got a heads up on Twitter from Josh T and Couponer about the finish of this match. So I ended up paying attention to the match when I normally would have not wanted to. But I might have paid attention anyway because it's Thekla, so I'm like trying to figure out, is she any good? So the match was kind of contentious. It seemed like at the beginning that they were not... there was something weird. Like they weren't really like... I don't know. They weren't stiffing each other, but it was like definitely not cooperating a little bit, or some miscommunication, or as far as like... not knowing like what the other one wanted to do. So maybe they forgot it and it broke down. Maybe somebody said something in the back that one of them didn't like. Maybe, who knows? Could have been a few things. But it was a little bit awkward of them working together. And they end up going through the rest of the match. And the reason that it was brought to our attention is because she locks her in the death trap. Pronouns. Thekla locks Aminata in the death trap and she taps out, and Thekla kind of holds on for a while. So she's like kind of holds her in there for a few seconds, and then kind of the referee's like, hey, let her go. And then she like kind of lets her go a little bit, but doesn't just like get off of her completely. So Aminata like shoves her off and like, rolls out of the ring or whatever, and then leaves. So I guess the question was supposed to be, okay, why did she no-sell that finish? Well, it's not really a no-sell in the sense of if I didn't watch the rest of the match, I wouldn't have thought anything of it because, I mean, if you're tapping out because, a lot of times when you tap out of a move, especially in a shoot fight, right? It's because of the threat. Like, I'm going to break your arm / leg / whatever. And if you don't tap out, I'm going to do it. And we've seen where guys have refused to tap out and they got their arm broken or something. And then the referee just stops the match anyway, because now you got a broken arm. So we have to protect you from yourself. So it's more like, it's not necessarily that those, if you get an ankle lock on somebody, it's not like the bullshit pro wrestling ankle lock where they just hold it for 20 minutes. It's just like a thing of like, okay, I got you. Are you going to give up? And then you, yep, I give up. I'll give up. It doesn't, you're fine after that. So you shouldn't have to sell anything. So if she's trapped in this submission, this painful submission hold, I mean, you're done selling as soon as she lets the move go. So it doesn't, to me, it's not like you're not selling it if you do that. It's not the same as like Austin Aries taking a full finish, and then just getting up and leaving.
That was ridiculous at the time, dude.
No. But that being said, there did seem to be some little bit of contention earlier in the match between them, that they were not on the same page about something, and they were kind of like, you could see the awkwardness in there because neither one of them are experienced enough, I guess, to handle that.
Well, how long has Tekla been in the business for? Like, how long has she been wrestling for all up? Do you know roughly?
I'm not sure, but I saw her a couple of years ago at least.
Okay,
so
she's got a couple of years at least under her belt. Maybe not just a miscommunication thing, but could it be, Aminata kind of big balling her because she's the new chick in the locker room?
Maybe. I wouldn't say she's in the position to be the locker room police.
I know, that's true. But technically, because she's been there longer, before her, you never know, right? I mean, or it was a total miscommunication because she's from Austria, correct? Am I wrong?
Yeah. That don't matter, though. They all speak English in Austria,
right.
And Queen Aminata speaks English, so.
And they speak good English, so it can't be a communication thing then, obviously. So maybe it is something. I mean, it's got to be, right? What else could it be? Maybe they just don't like each other, or this spider chick thinks she's top shit in the back for,
Yeah, I don't know. If someone's getting a push, it's your job to help get them over. I don't know if Queen Aminata should even been in this match at this point.
Fair enough. I mean, that's true.
Like that should be maybe a little bit later down the line, but then again, whatever. Look, I don't know. But all I could tell you is that I definitely saw something going on.
The thing about Thekla, she should be just having showcase like squash matches with just jobbers really right now, I think, instead of even wrestling like someone like an Aminata. Give her a few of those, build her up, you know what I mean, to look real credible. And, just keep going with it. But the thing is, I feel like she's going to get lost in the shuffle soon anyway, for whatever reason. But she's got a nice look, though. I love her look, though. 100%. I just don't know where she fits in all of this yet.
Do you know where anybody fits in all this?
Well, no, not really.
Okay.
I mean,
just checking. Lexi is with Kip and Nick Wayne. Kip Sabia, Nick Wayne. They watch a highlight reel from the Best of Super Juniors that I guess Kip was nice enough to make himself.
Oh, of course.
And
he did it himself.
Yeah, he's like, and then they basically are like, Kip's like, I don't even know where I would be without Christian. I don't know where you would be without Christian. And Nick Wade's like, hey, So they're doing this. No one cares. They do an announcer on camera where they're trying to be serious about the Kenny attack from earlier. But all Tony's information that he has is that he was taken to a hospital. Okay, great. We assume that much. Anyway.
How can they keep doing this to themselves? First it was the sparklers, and now the fucking... Yeah, anyway. It's just egg on top of egg every time with these guys, but whatever.
All right, we are finally here. We are at our main event, and it is, of course, the Don Callis family and the adopted Hechicero versus Paragon and Disavowed, because I don't have to watch this. It's Daniel Garcia. He's in the main event. I don't have to watch it. It's over. It's over. The show's over for me. A show ended 20 minutes early, guys. It's great.
You know what I told you off the air, right? First of all, I'm sick of this shit. You know how I feel. Why do we
Collision must end in a multi-man tag?
Why, but why does he still do this? Like,
even when it's not really Collision, it still has to end in a. And Daniel Garcia's got a main event it
all the time, especially, and even though it's not officially Collision per se, but he always does end Collision per se. Like, you know what I mean, in a multi-man friggin'.
Yeah, now technically you're saying he's main evented Dynamite, really.
Well,
you think about it.
Heck, it was
which he has done also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Daniel Garcia, you can always call him a main eventer because if you keep putting him in the main event, you can say he's a main eventer and technically you're not lying, but it's still
Cold-blooded said it, a main event anywhere in the world.
Yeah, but it was here. So, and guess what? I didn't watch it. So that's as simple as that. Like,
do I tell the truth too here, Vet?
yeah,
I told you off the air I didn't fucking watch it either. And then you told me you didn't either.
yeah.
So
I had a rule. You had no excuse, but I had a rule.
Yeah,
but nobody can blame us. I mean,
you know
come
how
on,
I feel about this shit.
Who watched this? Come on, raise your hands. Who watched this match? Who actually sat and watched the whole 15 minutes? It was I could see by how much I had to drag the bar over that it was about 15 minutes long.
Was it? Did it go for you think? Probably, more than likely. You know what I want to know though? How big of
I know that, and I could tell by what happened at the end that the heels won. So the Don Callis family actually got a win.
Liz. Oh, good. That strong win now for no reason though.
Yeah. No, who was like Roderick Strong got pinned on a German suplex by Josh Alexander.
What? That's weird too, like in itself. Okay, where do we go? Where do these guys go from there? I mean, everyone was sleeping during this match, clearly. Look at the chat, everyone. Like, Liz says it again, I legitimately fell asleep and I even tried to watch again and she fell asleep again.
Damn.
Oh, strong win style wins again, says Labrat.
Strong win style.
Cool. I'm just done with these 10 billion. You know what? Do you think he might break the world record one day, Vet? And actually have like a 50-man multi-tag match? Is that possible? What do you think?
Remember that first Survivor Series where there was like no room to hit the ropes?
Yuck. That was bad. The first Survivor Series was horrendous in a way, dude. If you look back, I loved it as a kid, but when I rewatched it years later, I was just like, wow. You know what I mean? But yeah, do you think he might try that? He'd be like, this is where the best wrestle, but where everyone wrestles. Heck, remember how WCW had 3 rings? Right, for World War III? Do you think he'll go one further and have 4 fucking rings?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Imagine
and that would get away. Then they could book a bigger arena again because they would have to take out more seats so it wouldn't be as empty because they'd have more rings.
From both ends, though. One for the set and the other for the ring. Yeah, absolutely.
I actually like it. Let's do it.
He can come up with some new concept, like, you know, like King of the Mountain, but he calls it like, I don't know, like King of the
Dude, what if it was a like one of those 4 corners strap matches, but you had to touch 16 corners?
Oh no. I kid you
oh
not,
damn, he got to 14 and then got yanked down. Oh shit, we got to start all over.
Oh shit, man. If that was, oh my God. Let's not conjure this shit, Vet, because weird things do happen.
And it you know what? That. And another thing that hurt me about this, like,
what's that?
Hechicero was in it, so I had to skip it.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. All you had to do was take one person out. Just take Daniel Garcia out. Put anybody else in there. I would have took anybody else. I would have took either Axe Axon or Cash Cashin. Anybody. I would have even took JD Drake. You know, just because I hadn't set my rule about him yet. So technically I wouldn't have been able to skip the match, but just anybody but Daniel Garcia, and I could have watched Hechicero do his thing. Now I'll never know if he conjured any moves.
The sorcerer. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, that best says, but you can't replace Danny though. You just can't.
The hell you can't. That's what you definitely can do.
You can't. Danny's a main eventer now, dude. I don't care what you say. He's the man. He's a dancing man too, or is it a dancing fool? I don't know, but
Dancing Dan, we already have one of those.
Dancing Dan, dancing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're done. That is, I believe, 100% sift rate on this this horrible accident that they called Summer Blockbuster.
Was it Blockbuster? Yeah, that's it. Summer Blockbuster.
It must be.
Whatever.
Yeah, it was a Michael Bay production because there was a bunch of wreckage everywhere.
Oof, there was a lot of wreckage, but some funny wreckage too. So I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it doesn't matter. I had a good laugh. That's all that matters. Until that main event, I'm like, no, I can't do it. Not 8 fucking cunts. Whoops, sorry I said that. I just can't do it. Can't do 8 men, 10 men, 12 men. I just want a singles match, just once, Tony, for Collision, once. Give me a main event, just 2 guys. I'll be
That's
happy.
right. Give me 2 guys.
Just 2 guys.
Book
I don't
it.
need any more. Not 6.
Man on man. Let's go.
Yeah. There used to be a show called Man oh Man, not Man on Man, but still. Mono y mono. 2 men. That's it. 1 ring, not 4, not 10, just 1.
2 men
guys.
enter, 2 men survive.
Yeah. 2 men in a wrestling ring. That's it, Tony. That's all we need. No more than that. But anyway, that was your Summer Blockbuster Extravaganza Sunday Morning Wreckage edition. I mean, we need to start putting gimmicks here too. Not just the Wreckage, but it's got to be called like every time they do it, we do it too. Like the Sunday Wreckage roast or some shit. I have no idea, but it doesn't matter. AEW, just we're the best wrestler, and that's all that matters.
Yes, all of them at the same time.
All
in the
them.
main event of Collision. Well,
Wow.
I guess since we're the best, we should tell everybody where they can find us. So for me, that's at Opinion Haver everywhere. Okay, and that's every Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the Impact the Tag with Brandon. We talk about TNA every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern with Big Ray Hernandez. For the Next Level Wrestling Review, we talk about NXT. You can check out Wrestling with Rip Rogers every Friday at their concrete time of 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Ask Rip Rogers a question. You can check out Stevie Richards' show every Friday. They drop in new content. Except this week was a pre-recorded Ask Stevie Anything show, so it answered a ton of fan questions, a lot of interesting stuff there. And of course, Limpin' Ain't Easy with Timmy Baltimore, with his new episode this past Wednesday. So Wednesdays are the days that the new episodes drop, and yeah, that's pretty much it. What do you got, Jimmy?
Perfectly done. Well, funny enough, after the Wreckage last week, I noticed the PW Hustle boys in Billy Ray Valentine, A-Track Brown, and of course the Professor Chavela Vera Cruz were going head to head with us for about 30 minutes. So I jumped into their show, and the next thing you know, I ended up on their show. So go check that out on the PW Hustle, where we talk mainly about our truth. And, you know, if was it a work, was it a shoot? And actually, it was a good laugh too, that show. So check that out. Also, of course, every Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, it is I Like a Raw with myself and Big Ray Hernandez. And also check out the latest edition of the Smack Attack, where it was me, MSG, and again, the Professor. That was a great show, I must admit, man. Especially you guys were giving us a lot of questions, and we answered them all, and that was a fun show. I think that was very interactive. We should all do that more often. So go check that out right here on Hamin Media Group's YouTube channel. And yeah, I think that's about it from me, though, man. But if you want to follow me, you can at the PWC Network, not at DJ Mass Effects. But if you want to interact with me, you're going to have to do it at the PWC Network on Twitter. And yeah, that's about it, man. But before we do go, Vet, what are you playing tonight, or today, shall I say?
I don't know. I'll just figure it out.
Oh, I've been getting frustrated on the Street Fighter. We need a rematch soon, Vet. One of these days, eventually, I'm gonna get you back. I've been practicing again, but anyway, till then, catch us around. We'll be right back with you, actually doing the Impact Attack with Brandon, and of course, Brandon doing his watch along. So till next time, peace out. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you soon. And also, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there in the US in particular. Forgot to say that at the start, but I'm saying it now. So, yeah, happy Father's Day in peace. See yous.